Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the channel. So, the Integra is still around. It's obviously still alive and kicking. It has been a very hot minute since we've done anything with this car. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Right off the rip, you know, we're older. This car has been around for quite a long time. I get comments very often about this car, whether it be on my TikToks because people find me that are into Hondas because I'm posting content on there, and they're like, oh, I recognize you from back in your Integra days, or it's Instagram where people are asking where the Integra is, or the occasional time I'll post, you know, an Instagram story with the car in the background. But I mean, things have just changed for better and for worse. This car has had to be put on the back burner for quite a while now. So let's talk about it. All right, so obviously it's been, I don't even know how long it's been since we've really messed with the Integra. I boosted it when I was at the last shop, and then when I got my current location is when we bought this house. And then the last time I even drove the car was when we moved it here from my dad's property. The car, unfortunately, like I put brand new tires right before that, and then I even have all the stuff to build the cylinder head. I've got everything but cams that I was gonna get from a local guy, and then I just fully halted once I picked up the BMW, which that was a huge turning point. That's the main reason why I don't touch the Integra anymore. That and the community side of it. We'll get into both things. Like, this car obviously played a huge part in that, because to get this car I had to do a lot of hard work. The Integra is what started all of that hard work. It was able to allow me, you know, to even start my business. So I mean, that car is freaking everything and then some to me, but it just, I don't know, something switched in my brain at some point, and the car just no longer, like, I love the chassis. I still get nerded out when I see cool Hondas on the street, but at the end of the day, I don't know that I can come back to it in the same manner that it did. I do intend to come back. I do intend to, you know, eventually bring new life into the Integra at some point, but just the way priorities fall, the way life moves, and just doing everything myself. Obviously, I'm sitting here talking to you guys on the camera. It's just me. You guys come to me for work that are local, or you mail me stuff to modify, weld repair, whatever. Obviously, it's just me. I'm the same guy behind the screen as I am behind the emails, behind the text messages. So I don't have enough me. I don't have enough help. I don't have enough time or space. Space is a big part, because drifting takes priority over all of that, because that's now where my life has taken me, and I think it's freaking cool. Now let's just jump right in, hurt some feelings, get the Band-Aid ripped off. Now, what did I mean by the community kind of drove me away from this? And that outright is just the cheapness of the community. Doing automotive fabrication stuff, I get a wide variety of work. I get a wide variety of customers. I've serviced everything from the crappiest of single cam salvage title Civics up to, you know, Lamborghini Aventadors, Huracans, Porsches, and literally everything in between. I'm very thankful, I'm very fortunate, but it's been a lot of hard work on my part, and a lot of networking and a lot of connections. Now, my favorite part of the Honda community was the networking I was able to do within it, the friendships that I made, cross-country, long-term, and lasting. But the biggest gripe I have with it is the average enthusiast, who is going to be somebody that is hitting me up most of the time, doesn't have the knowledge, wherewithal, or mostly the money to understand what it is that they're wanting. And then it becomes my problem, because, for example, if I have a gentleman hit me up and he's just your normal run-of-the-mill, we'll say Honda kid, because again, a lot of these guys are younger. Like, I talk like I'm old now, which I guess in a sense I am. I'll be 30 this year. We've been doing this for a minute, but I've learned so much over the last decade of working on Hondas and doing YouTube. I feel I have a pretty decent soapbox to stand on when it comes between quality parts, off-brand parts, being cheap, being lazy. I've done everything in between. I have a lot of experience to share, and I'm very happy to share that, but people don't seem to want to listen to that, and then that's where it makes me suffer, because people will hit me up, for example, for a muffler swap. Now, I'm not a muffler shop. I build custom exhaust systems by all means. I weld stuff by all means, but I have a very high level of quality that I like to maintain, and a lot of these guys do not respect that, or they don't care. They just want it because, say, it's me, and it makes it difficult. And then sometimes I have to cave in, or if I do an exhaust system, for example, my material costs more than you could buy a full custom exhaust from a muffler shop from, with material, mufflers, and all that. That's just because I use high quality stuff, and it's not for everybody. but it's the dumbest that speak the loudest type scenario. It's like the cheapest guys, which are the younger Honda guys, a lot of the Nissan guys too, honestly. Shout out Nissan. But that's the community aspect that I'm talking about. It makes it bitter. And then I get situations I've had a few times before where a car is done, it's a decent amount of work, I'm thinking everything is going smooth, and then the customer doesn't have the money to pay. And then it becomes a whole ordeal. That's just unacceptable, and it burns the rest of my enjoyment for the platform because people are unfortunately just crappy. And I know it's not the car's fault, but that's where the BMW stuff comes in. So let's talk about that. So we're back here by the shed because it is really bright out and the sun is completely ruining the shot of the Integra. So we'll hop on that here in a few minutes while we finish up talking about what we're talking about. So again, the community, there's still I'd say 7 out of 10 of the people I meet are fantastic. It's just those 3 seem to be the ones that the 3 bad noodles are the ones that I seem to get the most often, at least in my DMs and inquiring on the business stuff. And it does drive me bananas. And then just the growth aspect. There's no growth in Hondas. It's like once you've done one, you've done them all, quite literally in a sense. They are big Legos. And it was really fun for me to be able to branch out into something new. That's why I got so geeked out over the Miata when I had it. But then when the S2000 came into the picture, I thought that was going to be the happy medium because it's still the Honda, but it's still something so cool and something to be proud of and something desired because I mean, most Honda guys aspire to be able to have a S2000 and or an NSX at some point because they're just incredible cars. But that's not what I experience. I love my car, don't get me wrong, I love the S2000, but in the community aspect, it's not the welcoming committee I kind of thought it would be at the time because a lot of people were actually, that were quote unquote longtime viewers of the channel, they're almost upset that I ended up getting the S2000, and it was more coming from a place of bitter resentment, I guess, because people were saying that, you know, I changed, I'm not the same backyard Honda kid anymore because, or I think I'm better than others because I have the S2000 now, which is obviously not the deal. I have an AP1, a salvage title AP1 at that I got peak COVID, so it was dirt cheap because, you know, the market sucked. So it was more of a luck of the draw than it was anything, but that kind of turned me off from the community a bit there as well. But after that, getting into the drift stuff, that was a whole story in its own. I can make a video separate to just how I even got started with that. But to sum it up, the drifting fully changed my outlook on community, my perspective on driving, the networking capabilities I was able to do, because although drifting is like in its own world over here, how it trickles down into such other parts of industry, because drifting right now is the big thing. It's starting to come into the spotlight, similar to how skateboarding did in the early 2000s, where it was kind of like, you know, just over here these guys did it, but then with Formula Drift coming to the States and starting that stuff, you know, what, 20 years ago or whatever, it's slowly been getting bigger and bigger, and I feel like I unfortunately hopped on the train late, but alongside the drifting, the BMW just happened to be by chance. I'm not particular to the BMW stuff. I think it's actually really cool now that I've owned it for a while. But the BMW stuff in particular, it wasn't just like, oh, I need an E36 because I hate Hondas. It was, I want to go sideways and this is very cheap and right in front of me, so I'm going to take advantage of it. And it helped that I had a lot of friends with the same platform. So I had a lot of people to get some information, knowledge, lend a helping hand type thing, and it worked out that way. But the drift stuff has done more for me in 2 years than the Honda stuff was able to do for me in like 8 years. Like YouTube, social media wise, yeah, it's been an incredible stepping stone to get to the next level with the social media aspect of drifting, because again, it's saturated at this point in my opinion, but it doesn't stop, you know me, because I know the Honda stuff will get more views, but to me that's just so boring and blown out. That's not the stuff that I want to do anymore. And if you do, that is totally fine. It's just, I'm one of those people that's never content, in the sense that I always find something new and interesting, and I just cling to that, and I go all the way in, and drifting has been that thing, and I think it comes from a place of fulfilling a need in my life and a sensation that I don't have anymore that came from skateboarding, and the Hondas never did that for me. So the community with the drifting is amazing. The difference of platforms, because with the drifting as compared to the Honda stuff, Hondas, it's like you got your Hondas, it's all the same 4 Legos, whereas the drifting, you could have everything from a stretched mini truck to BMWs to Nissans to, you know, everything in between. It is really, really cool. Lots of very nice people in the community overall. You learn a lot. I mean, even just in the last year of getting good as a driver, I've already picked up NRG Prisma Lab as a sponsor. the only connections I ever made through the Honda stuff in the, in the industry for sponsorships per se, other than JBtuned, but that was not organic. That was put in place with the help of like Mark from Honda Street Garage, was Hassport. And even that wasn't organic because that was a failed job interview that led me to working with Hush Performance, which led me to working with Hassport Performance, which led me to then working with K-Tuned and a few of the other brands, K-Tuner and such, that we got to partner with. But it was never for me. It was Brian. Brian was from Hassport, was the one that organized all that for me, which I'm incredibly thankful. But it just, the Hondas never did it. And again, extremely fun, but I just lost the interest. But doesn't mean I'm done with them. It just means I'm taking a hiatus for a while, and my goal when I have more expendable income is definitely still to import a crispy XSI DA6. But until that time, I'd rather let my car sit here and appreciate it from a distance under the cover than sell it and get a few bucks for it, sure, maybe, depending on the market, but then letting somebody else ruin it or tear it apart. I don't know, hopefully that kind of catches you guys up a little bit. It's not that I don't like it, it's just that I don't have time and I've changed interests. Still great, still kicking, but it needs to be able to drive. So let's go look at what's wrong with it. So don't get me wrong, the Integra looks like a hot mess right now because I have, the hood open. It is very dusty. Obviously I do live in the desert, so this is, gonna happen regardless. I haven't washed this car in over a year, about a year and a half actually, since it was brought down here from the old house. In my defense, it has been under a car cover the majority of this time. And I also want to show you guys, I've still got quite a few parts for this thing sticking around here. I have a subframe out there. I just don't have space for it in here. But I've got a whole shelf, or a whole rack, full of Integra stuff. This one's just miscellaneous, but this is like ARP head studs and all that. Center console mud flaps, the old yellow fog bulbs from the Legend for the DIY conversion. I think these are JDM power folding mirrors. I've got 92, 93 taillights. Got a center console up there. Got the 3-piece headlights down there. Got a bunch of miscellaneous clusters and stuff. Like, we've got plenty of stuff for the Integra sitting around here still. And I don't know if that's stuff I'm ever going to get rid of. Yeah, anyway, sidetrack. My bumper bar is up here. The reason the front of the car is actually torn apart was because I did a couple bumper bars a few months back, and I wanted to verify my fixture was getting a little beat up from getting moved around a lot. So I just wanted to verify the fitment, and then it's like I don't really have a reason to put the front end back together because I'm not driving it. But yeah, it's just missing the bumper, which is right here. Very dirty. And then just the bumper bar, which is just right there in the shed. So, but the main problem right now, car is not driving because the transmission will not engage. So it feels like a clutch master issue, or sorry, a slave cylinder issue. It's either slave or the master. We're gonna try and figure that out really quick. I'm gonna go with the slave cylinder because I was having trouble with that before I even parked the car. It was kind of wigging out on me, and I have the old version of the Hush Performance Cable Hydro, but I think the seal in my cap went bad because I never upgraded to his billet one. So I think the issue is that the seal is not weather tight because this is new fluid, and you can see it's already got that gross color to it because it's collected moisture in there. So I think the problem is that it just kind of ate the seals in the slave cylinder. I'm hoping the master is good, but I'm pretty sure whenever I modified it, before I understood what fulcrum points were, to try and make the clutch softer, I put a EG master cylinder in there. So we're gonna try it, swap the slave out really quick, see if we can't gravity bleed this thing, get a clutch working, and if we do, that will be one step closer, because then I would love to take this thing down to the shop here this summer. I got some stuff to do to the truck beforehand because I'm kind of getting into the truck stuff now. But I have repairs and maintenance I have to do to the truck and make sure the drift car is good to go before I can really work on this thing. But that should be in the next month or two, those things get done. So if the slave cylinder fixes this, then I can go ahead and I can trailer this thing down to the shop because it's not legal to drive. It needs registration and I have to go deal with all that stuff. But it would be good. The car needs to be gone through. At this point, everything I did to it underneath is about 9-10 years old, so it could use rubber all the way around, so we will address that later on. But the paint is still in decent shape for being the single stage Captiva Blue Pearl that we sprayed it, and obviously the motor runs great. It just needs to be able to drive it, and it needs tires, because these brand new Federals I put on a year ago have fully dry rotted, but whatever. I do have a spare slave cylinder here in the car though. Oh, and then I also need to mount the seats because I stole the NRG out of here for a passenger for the drift car, and then I it worked out because this was a passenger before in the drift car, but now it has matching Broms. But yeah, I just need to either modify my seat rail that I had in here, or I just have to buy a new one and plant that. But otherwise, yeah, slave cylinder, just a used one, but hopefully good RSX one right here. Let's slap this thing in really quick, see if we can't get a clutch in here. I don't know, I'm hoping this thing is still good because it's been sitting on my shelf for a while. Like I said, I got it used from a buddy a hot minute ago. So only one way to find out. If it doesn't work, you know, these things are cheap, so I'll just have to get one when I get more motivation. And the fluid in this thing is pitch black, so that's not a good sign, but you know, something is better than nothing. We will find out. I also want to just make mention a comment that I've gotten before on topic of, you know, why some people may have stopped watching when I stopped doing the Integra stuff is because I became unrelatable in the sense that nowadays I work out of a shop and I'm drifting and have an S2000 or whatever. Now, I don't want it to get misconstrued. It looks like I may be better off than I am, but I promise you, I am still the same cheap Honda kid I was before. It's just I prioritize my spendings differently now. And, you know, that just might be a change of interest things. It might be a maturity thing. I'm not too sure, to be honest, but I don't dislike it. But trust me, guys, I did nothing that nobody else couldn't do. All I did was I took myself seriously, and I am far from being rich, but you know, Lord willing, we'll get somewhere someday. But the biggest difference is I didn't just sit and say that I couldn't do anything. Granted, I was forced out of my comfort zone, but in a good way. So I didn't have to really think about it too much because I didn't have anything else to do. I kind of went into survival mode, and here we are. You know, 4 years later, you know, haven't gone without yet, don't have everything in the world, but we got some cool cars and we got some cool customers and we get to do some cool stuff, and I couldn't be more stoked. But some people took that as malice and just thought it was, you know, I just thought it was an ego thing. I don't know. I just wanted to try new things, honestly, at the end of the day. I just like cars. Hondas just happened to, for the longest time, be what I could afford. And, you know, honestly, nowadays, Hondas aren't as cheap as you may think. I've got a lot of money into my BMW, don't get me wrong, but that's a purpose-built streetable drift car. But past that, Hondas are not cheap anymore. I think as we're all finding out. I mean, take this K-swap, for example. K-swaps nowadays are cheaper than doing a B-swap half the time, depending on where you're sourcing your parts from. It's insane. Actually, before I take this thing off, I should probably crack this line loose. Yeah. I gotta say, I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to fire the car up and let it idle for 15 minutes before I started working on it when I knew I was gonna have to be in here by the radiator. I should have just filmed filmed that stuff afterwards, because right now this thing is not being kind to me. And then not having all my normal tools, there we go, definitely is making this no fun. I'm gonna have to be that guy because I just realized there's crush washers on this thing and I'm gonna have to reuse these crush washers. I am my own worst enemy, but this isn't permanent, this is just temporary because we're just seeing what's broken. Gross. There we go. Hopefully that's all the problem is. All right, let's put the new one in and hope for the best. I don't know, I don't have high hopes on this if I'm being honest. This part looks pretty crusty, bud. So only one way to know for certain, but okay, it's saved. The slave is changed. So let's just try and gravity bleed it. I don't have any of my fancier tools like my pneumatic stuff here, but gravity bleeding usually is what works best for me on this car. And no, I did not get prescription glasses. I actually bought the Meta Ray-Bans or whatever because I wanted to make some more social media content like Instagram stuff, and the POV stuff I love. So the only downside of these things, if any of you are curious, is it films vertical. So I may use it for videos here and there, but I will have to crop the image so it'll be vertical like you filmed on your phone because it's made for like social media, obviously, instead of vertical. So, but other than that, they're really freaking cool for the other things that they have. But yeah, that's why doing this, because I'm trying to do it for Instagram and TikTok as well. So how I usually go about this is I got a rag down there. I normally have a hose on it, but whatever, working what we got. So just go ahead, open this up. See, that's what I mean. Doesn't seem to do its job too well. So we're gonna open that, get some brake fluid ready. And I'm literally just gonna open this thing and then we're going to let it drain out. So in this case, it's an 8 mil. Just kind of do that, wait for the fluid to start trickling. And we should see the reservoir getting lower And then once we cycle through a few reservoirs full, we should be able to hopefully press the clutch pedal. It may take a bit of pumping here and there, but normally this is what works good for me. Otherwise, I like to back feed it, which is where you put like the fitting up here and then you force the fluid up because it helps get the air out. These cable to hydros in general are just difficult to bleed. There's not much you can do about it, but this is my favorite way. Okay, so I've been here for about 5 or 10 minutes trying to gravity bleed this. Not really doing anything. I did get some out of there. It was a mix of like it falling out as well as sucking it down because I started moving the lever by hand. So I think I'm gonna try and unbolt this really quick, let it drop, and see if that helps increase the gravity situation here. I've had luck with that before, but I'm thinking this might just be bad over the master. But I also did notice this lower crush washer is unfortunately leaking. So I don't think this thing is going to be getting fixed in this video, unfortunately, but I will try a few more moments. All right, looks like we're getting a little bit of movement now. I have it unbolted in here. Not that you can really see it that well, but it's kind of just dangling. I'm just kind of holding it over a rag right now, but it is taking some fluid. So sorry, keep bumping the mic here. My shirt's sagging because I'm sweating. Yeah, let's give this a minute, see what happens. Finally got fluid moving. Now, of course, now that I say that, it stops. Open that up a little bit more. Okay, yeah, so it's kind of squirting out the back of this thing pretty good. I'm hoping that it's just running down because I don't have a hose hooked up to it, but really hard to tell. Yeah, I think it's just coming out of the barb fitting or whatever. It's just trickling back from gravity. So I'm gonna go ahead and just let this drip for a few minutes. I'm gonna run a couple of reservoirs through and see if we can't get any sort of pedal pressure now that it's actually moving. All right. See if this thing has any pedal pressure. Hoping it does. And I wish I had the seat bracket in here. Oh, yeah, that's definitely what I remember it feeling like. Sweet. I mean, that feels pretty good. Screw it. Let's see if we can top this thing off and roll it back and forth since I am kind of blocked in by some dead branches that I still gotta throw in the dump. Well, it turns out the clutch is actually working, but the downside is the crush washer is spraying out. So it's holding enough pressure to at least engage, but obviously it's just spitting it all right back out. So I do have to just put a crush washer on it, and then this thing will be drivable once I bolt the seat back in. So that does motivate me a little tiny bit to get this thing going again. The only part that's discouraging is having to bleed this thing again once I put a crush washer on it. But anyways, I hope this video entertained you guys and kind of answered some questions some people may have about where the Integra's been. Believe me, it is right here. I don't know that I would ever sell it. I've got a local gentleman that really, really wants to buy it, but I don't know if I could ever actually come to terms with selling it. And I do like to keep it as a trophy. My dream one day, Lord willing, I can ever make anything half of what Adam LZ has made. My favorite part about him, even though he's fully unrelatable at this point, but I still enjoy his content, is that he still has his Cream 240, and I'd like my DA to at some point be my Cream 240. Even if I have 4 other DAs, all right-hand drive XSI imports at that point, just knowing that I still have this one stuffed in a building or a garage somewhere, it would just be a nice feeling. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel, hopefully you want to stick around, hit that subscribe button for more drift content. We will, I promise, this thing will be driving again before the end of the year for sure, but I want to say at least before the end of summer we will have this thing driving again, at least to some local cars and copies, and we'll see what goes on from there. But do what you love, forget about the rest. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.